May I have your name, rank, branch of service, please?
My name is Bobbie Johnston, U.S. Navy, and I was a lieutenant in '03,
And when did you serve?
1972 to 1978.
So, what is your connection to Southwest Virginia?
I don't have a direct connection. I think a lot of my relatives came through here. My last name is Johnston, and there are a lot of Johnstons. And my mother's name is McConnell, and there are a lot of McConnells. So I'm pretty certain there's probably relatives somewhere along the line here.
How and why did you enter the military?
It was during the Vietnam era, and I graduated college, and that was I had various choices, and the Navy came calling. I talked to them beginning of my senior year of college, and when I graduated, they called me and said, "Would you like to go to officer candidate school?" I was in St. Louis, Missouri, not a big Navy presence in St. Louis, Missouri, but I said okay, and so that started the whole process.
So, what were some of the jobs that you performed while serving?
I was I was on the USS John F. Kennedy, which was at the time the newest and largest aircraft carrier in the fleet, and I did two cruises, two 10-month cruises to the Mediterranean. I was in deck department. They told me when I came out of officer candidate school that if you go to an aircraft carrier, you won't get to do anything. They said, third deck coke machine officer. Well, that was not true at all. The first day on the ship, I'm on the bridge as part of the bridge watch team. And so I did that for the whole time I was on there. I became a qualified officer of the deck underway, and was also a division officer and a department head in deck department.
So, where were some of the places that you lived, and how did you stay in touch with your family and friends?
I'm sorry, would you?
Where were some of the places that you lived, and how did you stay in touch with your family and friends?
In terms of when I was in the service? Well, again, I was fairly young, early 20s, basically, early to mid 20s. And I spent all of my time in Norfolk, Virginia. And my brothers, I have several older brothers, they would come out and visit occasionally. And then I would go back to St. Louis, where my mother was living. I'd go back to see her. And I neglected to say that I actually was transferred to a ship in Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where I got out. It's a long, long story. We don't have time for that. But I spent the last 6 or 8 months in Charleston on an old ship.
Share a memorable experience from your military service, whether serious or lighthearted.
Probably, oh my gosh, again, another book of things that happened. The thing that always, two things. Being on an aircraft carrier, I was able to land and take off. I wasn't in charge of anything, but I was a passenger on a couple of. They were looking for people to ride in the back seats, and I had actually gone through Air Force ROTC and was like qualified for a variety of things like jump seats and parachutes and things like that. So I got to take off and land. And the first time I got to the carrier, I came in on a mail plane, and looking down and seeing we're going to land on that thing, But the probably the most sort of humorous thing, we were in Cannes, France, right after they have the big film festival there, and it's very ritzy, upscale area, and we put in there. We were going to stay a couple of days, and we lost our anchor, which again is a long, long story. On an aircraft carrier, anchors are quite large, and they dropped the anchor. It hit. We stopped, and then it went down into a big hole, and it pulled the anchor out. And so we stayed there for 2 weeks while they came and found it and had to get it back on the ship, which was an interesting experience.
So, finally, what message would you like to pass on to the next generation about military service?
It's interesting. I didn't do it willingly. Again, it was at the time. It's like it was the best choice. But having said that, I think it was a wonderful experience. I did things that I would have never done. I was in charge of an entire aircraft carrier for 4 hours at a time underway. which was, I have no idea what it was worth, and so things that you would never, ever, ever get to do. So I can't, for me, it was a really, it changed my life totally. I met her because of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met my wife if I hadn't been in the service. So that was a pretty good side benefit, I think. And I just got to do a lot of things that never in a million years would I have got to do.
Thank you.